Hi, I'm SharpFLA. I made 15 films in 15 weeks with Genus.
Hi.
We're posting the films along with retrospectives over on our channel 15 over 15 if you want to check them out. Link is in the description. It hurt a lot to do, but through the pain we learned a lot. Making a film in a week is very different than making one over months or even years, especially when you're only working with 2 people. But the core principles still can apply. This video should give you some ideas on how to work more efficiently and maybe get more projects done. Hopefully the knowledge that we gained working on 15 films will help you with your next one. So let's get started. The first point to follow is the easiest to understand but the hardest to accept: scope. Most artists, including myself, fall for the idea that hard work is what makes something beautiful. That in order to make something worth watching, we need to pour our entire heart and soul into it and sacrifice aspects of our health and well-being. How could we not when all these big studios and incredibly talented people are putting out these amazingly detailed and expansive films all the time? But for your own sake, please remember, you are not a studio, and probably not some crazy artist avatar that's mastered everything. You're a person with a life, and that affects how films get made. If you're tired one day and don't want to work, can't figure out a core aspect of your idea because it's a technique you haven't studied much, or you just don't have all the time in the world, that's normal. Planning a project well is just as much about knowing what you want to make as it is about knowing yourself. Assess your limitations without judgment and plan around them. The second piece of advice goes hand in hand with the first. Do what you know. Generally speaking, I stick to the idea that production is not the time to learn. At least it's not the time to learn too much. This doesn't mean you shouldn't try to make a film even if you don't know much already. The process of making one will teach you in and of itself. Just when you can, stick to your guns and do what you know, because you probably know how long it takes you to do that stuff. If you try tossing in a technique that you're not very familiar with, it could take you a few minutes to learn or a few days. The time you spent trying to figure that out is time that you could have spent on other aspects of your project. It's unnecessary stress that'll make a lot of people feel like dropping things altogether. Knowing the difference between a project that you do to learn and a project you do to finish is so important. An extension of that is know when to be cheap. Art isn't a competition, so there's nothing wrong with cheating. See how many shots you can make into held frames, reuse old assets, hide point of contact with the ground. All effort saved on taking the easy way on stuff is more time you can put into the important parts. Just make it work and move on. The next one is small, but be organized. Have file naming conventions that you stick to and a list of all the shots and assets that you need to make. Here's a look at one of the shot lists for 15 over 15, and it's pretty straightforward. We have every shot broken up into sequences and the different steps that they need to be finished in. Those shots are also named the same way in our story reel, so it's easy for us to look back and see what needs to get done. Having a shot list makes everything after doing your story reel really just a checklist operation. You can get a clear sense of your progress, and even better, a sense of accomplishment throughout the project instead of just at the end. File organization just makes it harder to lose stuff, so remember, save early and save often. And also save backups. Don't forget backups. Increment, multiple versions, do that whole thing. Finally, remember, the project will be over. Your deadline is gonna come, and when it does, you're gonna hit that export button for the final time and probably never touch this project again. Remember this when you're planning things out in the beginning and you have to do all of it in a finite amount of time. Remember this when you're in the middle of the project and stressed out of your mind, feeling like you're not making any progress at all. Remember this towards the end when you're in the final push and need to crank out a seemingly impossible amount of work. It will be over. If you want to see us suffer till it's over, go over to our 15 over 15 channel. If you like the video, give it a like, and if you want to see more, subscribe. Leave a comment if you want a video that goes into more of the specifics of how to make a film in a week, or any other topic you want me to cover. Thanks for watching, and bye!